mean, his title and her title are very much the same. So if you found it somewhere on the internet,
No, it's the link that she sent me.
all right, then I don't know. Then the one you sent me is A Miraculous Life of A Course in Miracles by Norman Bodek.
You clicked on that link that I just put in there.
Yeah, I posted it in the room, in fact. I thought that, I was finally gonna put the right link in the room.
That is
That's
so weird because look at here. I'm just gonna all right, I'm gonna go to share screen. Let's see, where would I share this to? And I'm gonna click on this link that's right here.
I guess I'm getting too old for this stuff.
I don't understand it because can anybody else click on this link that I put in here? Let's see. And because this is what it comes to for me, because it's right out of my Dropbox. It's a link out of my Dropbox.
Oh, you're
ACIM Guide to a Miraculous Life.
I see this now. I see it.
right. Put that link into the chat.
Yeah. Copy.
I just don't understand it, how I got that.
Well, you know what? Maybe we need to read that Bodak guy's book.
I was thinking I should have her read his book. I mean, all she really wants to do now is to get some advice whether her book, as you say, is consistent with A Course in Miracles. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. So click on that link I just put in there.
Okay. I'm gonna try that link right now.
Because that's the link that just came right off of that
Try that
thing.
link right now. I'm gonna try it right now.
Hmm. It just is confusing to me. Like this technology has got me baffled, but I'll have to go find that John Bodak book though, or Norman Bodak. Anyway, good morning, Myrna. Good morning, Dove. Grateful to have you guys both here.
I wanted to invite Regis to join us. Regis, Sharon and I used to be for a long time teaching on Thursday mornings, and and Sharon invited Laurie. She joined us. It's really great. Please join Mern and me.
I love Regis. I do, and I miss his work because he's a phenomenal teacher. Hi, Cindy. Cindy, I just saw yesterday that you called me the other day. Are you there? Anyway, I think I'll call you, but sometimes when I do call, you don't answer. So
Yeah, I'm here. I have
okay.
to. They're doing they're spraying the apartment with the bug killer. So I'm getting ready to leave. So anyway, I don't. There's no bugs in this apartment. This is what bugs me about them. They don't know what they're doing. They really don't. Anyway, yeah, I did call you, and I forget what I was calling you about. But anyway, I'm here listening and getting ready to leave.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Lynn
Good
and
to
Doug
see you.
and
Hope I
everybody.
see you tonight.
Yeah, I will. I'll do my best.
Oh, you know something? For some reason, I was trying it on some other browser other than Google. I tried it on Google and it comes right up.
Oh, that's perfect. I'm
That's
glad to hear that.
that's interesting. I couldn't get it. I tried it. I use Opera these days, but it didn't work on Opera. It works on Google immediately. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, you guys, the mic is all yours.
Good morning, Dove.
Good morning. Good morning. And are you joining me in inviting Regis to join us?
Regis, I mean, I always enjoy Regis's presence.
I mean,
He's usually here, actually.
inspire us. So we'd love to have your inspiration. Hello? Are you here, Regis?
Regis is here. There he is.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Oh,
Yes,
you,
yes.
you heard the call, Regis, and you answered. How are you? I don't hear Regis now.
I
Anyway,
think he muted himself. You guys go ahead.
okay, okay.
He muted himself. Regis!
The good thing is he can unmute whenever he feels like it, so that's.
As Ken Wapnick would say, stop the kid stuff.
Oh gosh, Ken Wapnick, Bill Thetford, Helen Schuckman. It's amazing how much we enjoy hearing about people connected with Course in Miracles, because it's not only a Course in Miracles, but it's those that really put it together, that really made it so inspiring, and in so many ways, because their backgrounds are all dissimilar, and yet Jesus brought everybody together, different backgrounds, different cultures. I don't know about cultures, but certainly in various different places, and I just think it's interesting because everybody had a hand in it. And even though Ken Wapnick passed away years ago, he's still, very much alive. We talk about him, we listen to him. His tapes are readily available.
Yeah. I mean, I listen
Anyway,
to him every single morning for hours, for 2 or 3 hours at least. And I don't think of I think of him as being here right now. I really don't. I mean, I have to think about it that he left his body 10 years ago. I really have to think about it. I mean, because I listen to him every day. I say, Ken just said this today. I don't think Ken said it 20 years ago, and I'm listening to a recording. I put up the commentary for today's lesson. Today's lesson, Ken Wapnick called the atonement lesson, and we can take a look at why he calls it the atonement lesson. Basically, lesson 135, which is the longest lesson in the course, 27 paragraphs, says, if I defend myself, I'm attacking myself. And in truth, that's all we do here is out of fear. We're afraid of something that's outside of us, that's different from us. So we remain in a defensive, and who is it that builds our defenses? The ego builds our defenses for us. It's like you're hiring the top general from West Point and said, I want you to build a fortress for me. And that's exactly what the ego does. It knows all of your weak links, all your weak spots, and it invites all that stuff, so you get addicted to what it is that makes you weak. Like if God doesn't love me, I'm going to find my love in a bottle of scotch. If God doesn't love me, I'm going to find my love in another warm body. If God doesn't love me, so the ego makes all these things up for us as our defense against the truth. But I'm attacking myself. I'm making something in this world special. And as soon as you make something in this world special, you're giving up all your power, because you're actually valuing something that is valueless. That's from my birthday lesson from 2 days ago. I won't value what's valueless. What's valuable belongs to me. But in ego terms, we value everything that has no value whatsoever to the eternal Son of God. I'm going to give you Ken Wapnick's commentary on it here. Ken says on lesson 135, when we focus on the body as either the problem or the answer, we are denying the mind the only thing that can save us. Jesus can't save us. The Holy Spirit can't save us. God can't save us. This book called A Course in Miracles can't save us. We alone can save us when we choose their help which is powerless if we choose against it. Now, the way we choose against it is we are in denial of the love of God. I mean, what is the Holy Spirit but the love of God? What is Jesus but the love of God? But we're in denial. That's why we're in a body. We actually see ourselves separate, cut off. We actually cut ourselves off. And the guilt of cutting ourselves off and maybe murdering God. So there is no God in this world. We made a world where God cannot enter. We feel that we've done something wrong. And of course, it's terrible to live with guilt. So we want to see it in somebody else. So we build defenses against something that's outside of me, and we keep the guilt over here by projecting it over there. And you got to laugh, really. He finishes up by saying, if we choose against it, therefore the bottom line is choosing a different teacher. So as long as I'm listening to the thoughts in my head and believing in them, he says, it's not the thoughts that do this to you. It's your belief in those thoughts that do it to you. And our beliefs are insane. We are believing in lies, period. And with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, lesson
He just
135.
has his hand up also.
Oh,
Excuse me.
I didn't see it. Regis, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Regis.
Hi, Regis.
Thank you. Good morning, Marilyn Dove. If I'm ever slow to respond and you're talking to me, it's because my computer is slow. So
Okay,
it's,
good. I know you
it's,
will.
it's weird. It's like some days they just perfect and some days they just got a mind of their own. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to comment on this first verse, this first lesson that Dove started out with. I just want to say about that lesson that it is the single most uh, lesson from A Course in Miracles that I saw impact my marriage instantly. And we had this thing where, like, whatever, I'm not even trying to decide what the issue was, but I would be talking to my wife and she would just be defensive, defensive, defensive. And we couldn't even sometimes get to the essence of what I was trying to have a conversation about because of the defenses. And as I began to learn this lesson and study this lesson, so one day we had started a conversation. It was a Saturday morning, and I think we were still just talking in bed. And I said something, the simplest thing, and she went right into defense. Or I asked a question about something or whatever, and I said, do you feel like I'm attacking you? I thought about this lesson. I just paused and I said, do you feel like I'm attacking you? No, I don't feel like I'm attacked. But everything you're saying is defensive. Why are you defending yourself if you don't feel like I'm attacking you? So, and then I went into like, we don't defend unless we feel attacked. So what is going on? And from that moment, she kind of got an aha. And from that moment, uh, our communication got exponentially better. And when we start noticing, and because we bring up these, it allowed her to bring up issues that needed to be healed. Sometimes we're just going through life defending, and everything is a trigger. Life is a trigger because we were raised in some type of toxic environment that put us on defense or put us on high alert, and so we were living life from this high alert position. Always, uh, if somebody said, "Oh, your hair is beautiful," you think it's some type of backhanded slap. Oh, are you really saying that my hair is hideous? No, I'm saying your hair is beautiful. So I just want to say this lesson was a real huge relationship lesson for me, and it has have had tremendous effect in being able to just communicate with other bodies in a peaceful way, in a loving way, and in a way that's uh, just welcoming for all. And so I just want to say that. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Regis. Everything you say really is significant because you're describing a relationship and how, something as simple as miscommunication can turn into something that is, completely not true or not intended. I like the title of this lesson, If I Defend Myself, I Am Attacked. What this brought to mind for me was years ago, I was attacked verbally by someone, a woman that was attacking me, and she was going on and on and on, and I wasn't saying anything. And finally she stopped. And I said, if I defend myself, I am attacked. I said these are the words that came to my mind. If I defend myself, I am attacked. Okay, and that stopped her in her tracks, even though she was not Course in Miracles, didn't know what significance it had for me, but it stopped. And I always like this lesson. There are certain lessons in A Course in Miracles that'll become foremost in your mind that you don't forget. And this is definitely one of them. And as Dove said, this is the longest lesson in the book. And it really goes into, what are we defending ourselves from? We think that if we armor ourselves, we think that if we protect ourselves, we think that if we put locks in our homes, we think that if we are, taking medicines that'll save us. And it goes on to, use various examples. And I like one of the sentences. It says that the body is just merely a serviceable instrument. That's all it is. We place so much glory in the body and on the body, and protecting the body, taking care of the body, feeding the body, whatever we do for the body, it seems to be, the center of the world for us. And yet, the Course in Miracles, and specifically this lesson, minimizes the body's use. Use it as a serviceable instrument. That's it. And, it does have a use if you use it accordingly. So I always, like that. I always believe that. And I do believe in feeling healthy and practicing certain principles. If you can really realize that there is no attack, your body is not being attacked, it'll remain healthy. I think, we use the mind to give the body all its direction, even whatever it is that we suffer from. It starts in the mind. So we're using the mind in a way that it's not meant to be used as we do. It's used for ego purposes. But if we use the mind to express ourselves in a way that shows the truth of the consciousness that we're given to feel with love and nothing more than that. And we talk about love a lot, but if you're feeling love, how can you want to attack? How can you think you're attacked? How can you fear anything if you really feel loved? And Jesus assures us over and over in the Course in Miracles that we tremendously loved. We are loved. Just get that through your head. You're loved.
Yeah, this lesson, it gives us an opportunity to look at the question, why don't I feel safe? It really gives you an opportunity. It doesn't matter whether it's even people with guns. There's a retired law enforcement officer across the street from me. And when we moved on this street in Pueblo, we met one day. I was out in the yard, he was in the yard, and we met. And he told me, yeah, this is one of the safest communities in the city. And, but all these people, they have all these cameras and lights. And like I told my wife, I said, I feel safe. I don't, what are they trying to protect themselves from? And even he had a little open house at his house. And we walked over there. We were invited. We walked over there. And when we got in, he said, "Come on in, Regis." And we were, as we was there at the house, he said, "Look at this." He had a laptop open, and on his laptop was surveillance of the whole house, the whole outside. He said, "We saw you coming way before you got here because we was looking at you on camera." I'm like, I'm just thinking, why do you need all of this stuff, man? You know, it's like, but this lesson gives us an opportunity if we take it. Anybody that reads it, anybody that put themselves in it, and like Dove says, one of the longest lessons, it really gives you an opportunity to look at your feelings of being unsafe. My birthday lesson, one of the key messages in lesson 235 is that you are safe. You know, that's you are saved and you are safe. And it's just amazing that human bodies don't feel safe. It's you know, everywhere we go, all around it, there is defense. You know, I don't care whether you have a gun or have a gun right or not. My question is, why do you think you need it? You know, it's like what's going. So this lesson really gives you an opportunity to look at from all aspects and angles as why don't I feel safe? And I can feel safe, you know. And sometimes you realize, oh, there's no reason for me not to feel safe. The calls are coming from inside the house, So thanks, yeah.
Thanks for that, Regis. Yeah. You had to be assured that you're living in a very safe district, in order to make it feel better. That's what the policeman wanted you to experience, to feel safe. But obviously, you're laughing at that. As Dove says, you got to laugh at so much of this.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I just want did you want to share something, Myrna?
Share something? No, I can talk about it.
It's actually, we called on Regis and I thought you wanted to go next. No?
Okay, yeah, what I will say is that, what came to mind for me is I had a store in New York City. And I used to find that after hours, when the store would close, I could get a lot of work done. And I would work through the night. I would work sometimes until 11 o'clock and then walk home from there. And I remember my husband used to get so upset with me because he was in Florida at times when I would go to New York alone and I would do the work I had to do. But he used to get so upset that I'd be coming home at 11 o'clock alone. And yet, I'd be walking through the streets and the streets were filled with people. I never felt that there was anything to fear, no matter what time it was. So the retort I got for that was, well, would you walk through Central Park in the middle of the night by yourself? Would you do that? And I thought about that. And the answer I came up with was, no, I wouldn't. But if I had to go through Central Park in the middle of the night for some reason that could not be avoided, that I had to go through Central Park at 12 o'clock at night, I know I would get to the other side safely. That's the answer I came up with. So, it's all very discerning. It's recognizing that we are safe. If I had to do something that I was fearful of, but I had the faith that I would be safe because God would protect me from this, whatever it is, this endangerment, whatever, could arise from that. I wouldn't be afraid. I know that. I have that much faith in knowing that I'm protected. And so, this lesson's interesting because it catches your eye. If I defend myself, I am attacked, instead of saying, when I am attacked, I will defend myself. So it's just the opposite, really. I defend myself when I am attacked, but this is saying, if I defend myself, I am attacked, meaning that that you defend yourself against nothing, because you're not attacked until you defend yourself. The title, expresses that very significantly. So I really this really drives home a very important lesson, I think. So I'll give it to you, Dove.
All right. It's amazing that you use that metaphor, that I know I can get through Central Park from one side to the other and I'll be safe. That sounds just like the metaphor that I've been using in this room a dozen times or more. When many years ago, we used to have guest teachers coming in like on Saturday and Sunday night. And Lisa Natoli, who was a teacher in those days, and she used to live in Endeavor, and her teacher was this woman named Greta. That was her teacher. And she invited Greta to be a guest teacher at ACM Gather on a Saturday night. It was probably about, could be about 15 years ago. And I'll never forget the story because she was talking about trust. And she was talking about faith and she was talking about trust. And as you know, ACM Gather is really all about developing trust that if I step back, Holy Spirit steps forward, and everything that seems to come through me is really Holy Spirit speaking to me and through me. So she came to speak about faith and trust, and somebody in the audience raised a hand in those days. Of course, it was all on ACM Gather. There was no Zoom. And someone says, Greta, what is the real difference between faith and trust? And I'll never forget the answer. Her answer was, well, with faith, if you are standing on a high wire with no safety net under you, and you have to push this wheelbarrow from one end of the high wire to the other, you somehow have faith, like faith in God or faith in something that you can put one foot in front of another and you can get yourself from one side of that high wire all the way across to the other side and have no safety net, and you're going to be safe. Trust? That's a different world. What's so different about it? Well, in trust, you put yourself into the wheelbarrow. It doesn't matter who's pushing it. You're safe. Now, that's my story, which I tell so many times, and that's what trust is all about. It's a complete letting go. Kind of reminds me of Rafi. He says, "Well, can you let go more? Even more than that? Are you willing to let go more than that?" And then he asks you a very important question. What is it that keeps you from letting go more? Is it control or is it security? And I found this picture early this morning, like around 6 o'clock in the morning. I happened to be on a place I never go. LinkedIn. I never go there. And I found this picture there that literally is such a big aha. Because let's look at the picture, and I put it in the chat. You can blow the picture up by clicking on it, and instead of looking at the Zoom screen, you can look at the picture. It's a picture of a guy who is in his control, and he can control anything like within his boundaries, and his boundaries is his mind. What is out of his control is anything outside of him. For instance, good. I can see you doing that. What's outside of him is, for instance, the actions of others, what other people are doing, what other people think of me, the outcome of my efforts, am I being measured well or not? How others take care of themselves, the opinions of others. Do people accept me, respect me? All those things that are out of my control. Now, if you look at the Course in Miracles, he tells you in chapter 18, section 6, there's nothing outside of you. This is what you must ultimately learn. But the ego says, no. Those people out there, they really don't like you because, you don't do things their way. You're reading a different book. They're reading A Course in Miracles. You're reading this, and it's not the same as they're reading, so they don't respect you. This and. So the mind goes crazy. The funniest thing, I was on the phone last night with Prudence, and And we always have a kind of a fun talk, and then all of a sudden somebody says something and the other person takes it the wrong way, and then someone says, you know, I don't think this is a productive thing, and they hang up. So lately she said something to me, you know, you always say uh you got to laugh, but you don't seem to be laughing a lot in our phone conversations. She says, you know, when I first met you, you used to have this tagline, and the tagline was called "Laughter Now Saves Lifetimes Later." I said, that's right. That used to be when I first came on the internet, that was my email tagline. I put it on all my emails. I haven't done it recently. I don't know why, but it happens to be a true story. This morning, I realized where that true story came from. And I told that story here a number of times in this room. And the story goes like this. It was many moons ago, back in the 1970s. I was living with this gal, Myrna. Her name was Myrna, by the way. I was living with this gal, Myrna. Uh, uh, and uh, and she used to say, you know, we ought to go canoeing on the Delaware River. Now, the Delaware River from us was like an hour drive, and every year they had in the springtime these rapids that you can shoot the rapids in your canoe because every year the snow melted and the rains came. That particular spring, there was very little snow from the winter. There wasn't too much rain in that spring. But I didn't look at it from that point of view at all. I said, oh, it's a great idea. Let's go to the Delaware River and go canoeing. So, you know, I'm the guy, she's the gal. And we go to the Delaware River, I get in the canoe and we go down, and there's a few rapids, you know, you have to, you know, navigate around, whatever. All of a sudden we came out to this, like, it's almost like a lake, you know, where the rapids were gone, and we're canoeing, and there's people sitting having lunch because it's a Sunday afternoon on both sides of this lake part of this Delaware River, and we're canoeing down this kind of lake, and all of a sudden we hit a sandbank or whatever, a sandbar, and we're stuck. And she says, you know, I think we have to get out of the canoe and walk the canoe down until we get to the end of the sandbar. And I'm grumbling, oh God, oh, why is this happening to me? So there we are. We put the canoe on our shoulders. I think I was up front and she was behind, and we walked down the sandbar, and I could hear the laughter on both sides of this river lake. And oh, she says to me, well, aren't you going to laugh? This is funny. And I said, no, I'll laugh later. I was so angry and I was so pissed, mainly because people were laughing at me. Many years later, it came to me that picture of the two of us carrying a canoe down the middle of the Delaware River. And I started laughing and laughing at how insanely crazy that must have looked. Of course, people would laugh. There's two people carrying a canoe down the river. You gotta laugh. And that's where that line came from. You either laugh now or you'll laugh later. But if you laugh now, you're going to save yourself lifetimes of being angry until later. So with that, I'll turn the mic back on over to you.
Somehow when you said, I'll laugh tomorrow, I'll laugh later, it reminded me of a movie, I'll Cry Tomorrow. It was an old movie with Susan Hayward. And that's what brought it to mind, you know, laugh tomorrow, I'll cry tomorrow. You know, I don't know why I thought about that. But I think we're just meant to laugh at everything really that happens, that we think happens, because, you know, once we and recognize that nothing is real anyway. Yeah, the body was uncomfortable. You had to schlep the canoe, over a sandbar, so you were upset. Okay, so you could look back at that picture and realize that, you got through it, and it was an experience. You didn't forget it. And, so you can really move on from there. But, yeah, laughing is important. I think laughing is so important. It really is. And then, I think we're attracted to people that we can laugh with. I know my boyfriend Pat and I laugh all the time over nonsense. We laugh over the goofiest things sometimes. And when you can laugh, you can really forget about everything else. It really, because laughing is just, you're in the moment when you're laughing, and everything else really takes a backseat to that. So yeah, it is important to laugh. And the Course in Miracles, what does it tell us? The Son of God forgot to laugh, right? Isn't that what the Course in Miracles says? Somewhere in time, the Course in Miracles, right?
As a matter of fact, I was listening to Ken Wapnick this morning, and he was talking about that very section. It's in chapter 27, section 7, the dream of the dream. Into eternity crept this tiny, mad idea in which the Son of God remembered not to laugh. He took it seriously. He said, I can do more. And of course, more is in the Course of Miracles, the Antichrist. So, I want more. I want to be loved specially. I can do more than you. I can be bigger than you. So everything is, I can do more than my Father who created me. It says, if we laugh, we never would have had the Big Bang, and this world would never have happened. But we took it seriously. And if you really listen to Ken Wapnick, at least I have been listening to him recently, and all he really talks about is you can either listen to the teacher of seriousness, which is always the ego. You better do this. If you don't do this, you got to do this. You should have, you could have, you would have. Takes everything seriously, or you listen to the teacher of gentle laughter, which is the Holy Spirit. And Jesus and the Holy Spirit is always smiling because they're looking and they see that what you think is true is not true. What you think is true is not true. That's why they're smiling and laughing, because they don't judge. The ego in us judges and says, well, that's good, that's bad, that's right, that's wrong. And all of that judging is actually, hi, Karen.
Karen, hi.
Karen's hand up. Karen, go ahead.
Let's hear from you, Karen. Unmute.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I just want to tell you something that happened to me this morning. It was so funny. So I had to go out this morning and my uncle said, well, just be careful because a dog peed in the elevator. So when I went to get in the elevator, it looked clean. He said, oh, they must have wiped it up. So I said, okay. So I wasn't thinking, I said, okay. So I stepped wherever I stepped. And then when I stepped away, it was all sticky. So they really didn't clean it up. They probably just like whatever. So I said, I thought you said they wiped it up. And I kind of screamed at him. And then I immediately started laughing at myself for getting angry. It was just hilarious. And just by the fact that I got so upset over nothing, I caught it immediately and I started cracking up laughing. And if we can do that in every moment, it's everything. It just makes life so easy. Yeah. So I just had to share that just happened.
That is so good, Karen. Yeah, you're either listening to the teacher of laughter or the teacher of seriousness. If you take it seriously, it's the ego. If you're smiling and laughing, if you go through life smiling and looking at things and not taking it seriously, spirit is within you and seeing for you and being with you. You're perfectly cared for. That's always true. Did you want to share anything? Regis, Karen, Michaelia, Len, Myrna?
Myrna, I guess it's me. Okay. So you talk about the Course in Miracles, the Son of God remembered not to laugh. And that's when the ego was developed, the beginning of time. Rob Schwartz puts it another way, that we were all souls with God. But for some reason, a segment of that consciousness wanted to experience separation. And although we were warned by our guides, our teachers, that this would be a very painful experience, we sought to want to experience the what it would feel like to be separate from God. And they said it's not a good idea. And God knew that we would want to come back from this experience of separation, that it would be very painful and we'd want to come back. And that he gave us, didn't allow us to disconnect from him. We always had the tools to come back when we were ready. And in this phase of consciousness, we're ready. Many of us are ready. Whereas we're actually, the Course in Miracles says we will all come home. But I like to think at this point in time that this will be my last phase, and then I will venture back into the arms of God from where I came, and I will laugh all the time. So it's interesting. It makes for very interesting discussion. Really did. I heard somebody talking about, well, we separated in the Garden of Eden when God said you can have everything you want. You have everything. You have a garden. You have comfort. You have beauty. You have all the food that you need. You have a love. You have everything that you could possibly want, but don't touch the apple on the tree of life, I believe. But they couldn't resist because it was something they couldn't have. It was something that they couldn't have, and that's why they wanted it. And isn't that true of the human psyche? We always want more. I mean, that that really caught my attention because it really reminds me of the way we are. We always want more. It's never good enough. We never have enough. We're always competing. We're always looking to stretch whatever it is that we think that we want, and that. We believe that that it's going to do something for us, but it does nothing. We learn time and time again that it does nothing for us because it's not lasting. It certainly doesn't give us lasting happiness, no matter what it is. And if anything, the segment of the series, The Crown, taught me that. You would think that they had everything, but just like us, they suffer from emotional despair and wanting more. At one point, I'm talking about the Crown now, they were upset because they didn't have the money to keep up their yacht. And they couldn't understand why, they went on television. Philip said that, we need help. We're losing our yacht. And that didn't sit well with a lot of part of the population, yet they always had a yacht and they didn't want to, they felt that they were giving up something and so forth. That was just an example. So it really depends on, they were very unhappy about having to give up their yacht. They always had a yacht. Well, isn't it similar, it's just different levels of what we feel, we need. Nobody has more than we have as we think they do. We're all in the same boat, wanting more. Right, Doug?
Absolutely. That more, the word Antichrist, it means that that's not who we are. We are the Christ, and the Antichrist says, no, I want it more. I want it thus. In fact, Ken Wapnick uses the ego's getting upset about anything as he says. In fact, this is in the Course. It's not from Ken, but he mentions it. Jesus says it's a temper tantrum in which the ego is saying, I want it thus. So that comes from Jesus, by the way. It was reminded to me earlier today. It's a temper tantrum in which the ego is saying, I want it thus. I'm not content. Notice the word content. I don't accept what is. It's unacceptable to me. I want more. Now, notice that my favorite paragraph, which is paragraph 18, in today's lesson 135, I put the whole paragraph up on the board, but I also want to say that the 6 paragraphs that lead from 11 to 17 is all about a healed mind does not plan. Now, the ego is always planning. Now, what does planning mean? It wants to control. It wants the control. Well, I'm going to plan this, I'm going to plan that. And of course, you know, the best laid plans of mice and men go kafooey. And that the joke is, you want to make God laugh? Tell him your plans. So after 6 paragraphs of a do not plan because a healed mind does not plan. And basically that's pretty much how I lead my life. Like on my birthday, a lot of people said, what are you going to do for your birthday? And I kept saying, I really have no plans, you know, just see what happens. You know, if someone calls me, it's wonderful. If I make a call, that's wonderful. And that's it. So this is what paragraph 18 says. What could you not accept if you knew that everything that happens, all events, past, present, and even to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? So he's saying this after 6 paragraphs of stop trying to control things. That's the ego controlling you. And you think that you can keep people at a distance and maybe overcome fear and you're going to be right at the expense of someone else being wrong. No, that's the ego doing you in, making you a prisoner of his own prison. Okay, getting back to the same paragraph, which I don't usually go into, but let's look at the whole paragraph now. Now, so this is the paragraph that follows 6 paragraphs of do not plan. Perhaps you misunderstood his plan, Holy Spirit's plan, for he would never offer pain to you. Or you can call it God's plan, for he would never offer pain to you. But your own defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took. While you made plans for death, he led you gently to eternal life. And that comes from lesson 135, today's lesson, paragraph 18. And I just want to mention that my original teacher before I found the Course in Miracles was Werner Erhard from S. I always say if I didn't do S in 75, I would never have picked up the Course and bought it in 77 when I came to the Course in Miracles. So I happened to see one of Werner Erhard's quotes are, there's a whole list on the internet of Werner Erhard's quotes, just like there's a whole list of Ken Wapnick's quotes. It says, happiness is a function of accepting what is. And that's from Werner Erhard, my first teacher. So it's in the accepting of what is that takes away the fear. Fear attracts pain, suffering, etc., because fear is another way of saying, I don't trust. And remember, trust means you're putting yourself into the wheelbarrow, and no matter who's pushing it, you're safe. And that's why in the teacher's manual in section 4, the 10 characteristics of God's teachers, it says the whole 10 is based on trust. Trust is the bedrock. So who am I trusting in? Am I trusting in me? Moi? Trusting in? No. I'm trusting in my holiness. What God created is perfect, whole, and complete, needs no alteration, no fixing, no nothing. I am perfect exactly. I'm trusting in who I am, what I am. I and the Father are one. And with that, I'll turn the mic back. Cindy, I see you in the room. I kind of forgot you last time. Do you want to say something? Michaelia, Regis, Karen Parenti, Lynn, Myrna, go ahead. Regis.
So on the chat, you were reading from it. And I looked at this line, perhaps you have misunderstood his plan, for he would never offer pain to you. But your defenses did not let you see his loving blessing shine in every step you ever took. Well, you know what that reminds me of? Years ago, I heard a metaphor story about a man it's a metaphor, just a story, but it says a lot, where he dies and he meets God. And God says, let's review your life. So God presents his life in the form of a beach. And he says, what do you see? He says, I see footsteps. So God says, yes, you see, all through your life, I walked with you. There are two sets of footsteps, you see. And the man certainly looks through the map of the beach of the life that he lived. And he looks at a certain part of his life as a beach. And he said, but God, look over here. This was the hardest part of my life. This is where I suffered the most. And there's only one set of footprints. Why did you allow me to walk alone? And God said, no, you weren't alone. That's when I carried you. So that's, answers the, this particular phrase here. Perhaps you've misunderstood his plan, for he would never offer pain to you. So it reminds me that, we think we're alone, and God tells him, the man or whoever it was that, or the soul that died, that I carried you. You never did walk alone. That's why you see only one set of footprints. Well, it's the same in life here. That's what faith and trust are. It's the same, really. Trusting and faith that God would, that we are safe. And I think the more we feel that, the more we recognize it, the more it happens. The more we see that nothing is really becoming fearful. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is limited when you have the faith that you can rest in God. And that's what you do. You're resting in God. And that's what true rest is all about. And when you're resting, there is no fear, there is no pain, because you're at rest. So I like to feel that restful part of me where I can know from the moment I get up in the morning to the moment I go to sleep at night, that I'm with a loving entity within, that is aware of me, that knows me, that created me. And it's really, it just eases the body's the body that works so hard, to keep it going, to keep moving, manifesting, moving ahead, moving forward. You don't have to do anything on your own. So, and that's such a good feeling. So I
Okay.
hand it back to you.
Yeah, that's, basically I rest in God, which is my go-to lesson for anyone who is going through some anxiety and stress. That lesson says, this will take you out of the clashing dreams of this world. And that's exactly what this world is. It's clashing dreams. But in lesson 109, it says, I rest in God. And you can either use that one or Ken's favorite, lesson 34. I can see peace instead of this. I can choose peace instead of this. The ego always wants to keep your mind busy, because if it busies out your mind, you don't know you have a mind, because you're always planning the next thing. I'll do this. I don't like what she said, so I'm going to say this the next time I talk to her. And it's always planning something, scheming, manipulating, and the Course is saying, you want to undo all of that. In fact, there is I think there's a Ken Wapnick workshop called this course is not about learning the positive. It's about undoing the negative, There is no positive here. There's nothing to learn that's positive in this world of make-believe. But you have to let go of that which you made up, that you believe with a big lie to be true. And I think it's Karen here, Parenti, who says that she loves that. I think it's you that says, I love that part where Jesus is saying, listen, every road in this world leads to death. And if you notice that that's pretty much what the last line of today's commentary is. Not commentary, but lesson 135, paragraph 18. While you made plans for death, he led you gently to eternal life. So he tells you every road here leads to death. And then he has that funny line. He says, well, maybe you want to try all the roads. You keep going on and on. They all lead to the same place. They don't lead anywhere. They lead to nothing that you really want. Nothing that you really want. That's pretty much death. So you live in a hell. When in truth, you never left heaven. I never left heaven. Well, what is heaven? Heaven is simply an awareness of perfect oneness. But while you walk the roads alone, thinking that you are going to do well, I'm going to win at someone else's expense, I'm going to compete, I'm comparing myself, those are all the ego's adjectives. Hi, Audrey.
Regis has his hand up.
Okay, hi, Regis, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dove and Myrna.
Love the smiley.
The trust. One thing that I'm just noticing this character Regis lately, because I'm the same way, Dove, and I get the question, of course, mostly from my wife. But what are you doing today? What are what are your plans? And I'm not being evasive. I'm not being mysterious, but it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's like, but I noticed that's coming from trust. When you trust that you are safe, when you trust that all is well, your grip begins to loosen on trying to move all the pieces on the chessboard and control what's about to happen, what might happen, what could happen. You just feel this place of safety that you don't have to be one step ahead of everything. It's just, you just wake up and that, I moved to Pueblo without a job. And people are like, well, what are you doing? Are you going to work? You going to work? It's like, I don't know. you know, and I don't know why they ask me what you really want to ask me. What are you doing for money? Why don't they won't ask me that, but it's like, I'm trusting. I'm trusting that all is well. I'm trusting that when something needs to be paid, I'll pay it. You know, and to this world, yes, that's insanity. To this world, you have lost your freaking mind. You can't do that, Regis. You got to have a plan, man. What's your financial plan? How you gonna eat? Who's gonna put gas in your car? Who's gonna pay next month rent? A mortgage. So it's. But when there's like Dove have told us for years, trust will settle every problem. Anything that the mind or this world can present to you will be settled by trust. And once you rest in trust, there's just no need for a lot of planning. It's just today is going to be fine. What are you doing today? Today is going to be fine. And every moment will take care of itself. And in every moment, I will do what I'm prompted in that moment to do. If that's to look for a job, if that's to go out and mow the lawn, if whatever that moment is prompting me to do, that's what I'll be doing. And it's very strange to this world, but I'm telling you, trust is a sweet ride. It is a sweet ride, boy. And thanks for letting me share that.
Thanks. I like what you said about loosening your grip. You loosen your grip, and how could things not work out if you just let go and not worry? How could it possibly not work out? The world doesn't understand that because somebody might say, well, I tried something out, I wasn't worried, and then something terrible happened. But that moment of worry, that that crept in, really ruined the whole thing. The whole pie was kind of just disrupted, or messed up. But if you can really maintain that, just maintain whatever appears to be happening, just maintain that level of trust, and it has to work out. You and I have lived it. We know it.
You gotta laugh, really.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Trust would settle every problem. Now, you find it in the text, chapter 26, section 8, paragraph 2. And trust means I'm trusting that I am perfectly cared for. That's the truth. Thank you, Lynn. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Regis, Karen, Mikhail, Cindy, Audrey, all the ships out at sea. God bless.
Thanks you guys so much. And I just wanted to say, uh, really the basis for the trust is that this is over. It happened already
The world is over a long time
a
ago.
long time ago. So the trust is that you can never change what happened. It's done and we're here.
And
So
I'm still pissed that I'm carrying a canoe down the middle of the Delaware River.
and you still are if you didn't forgive it. But if you forgive it, it collapses all of that and it's no longer part of the story, the dream. It just goes away. So
Myrna said,
yeah. You
aren't
do.
you gonna laugh at this? I said, no, I'll laugh later.
And laugh and we're all laughing now. And that's it. We're all laughing now because of it. And you know what? They may not have been laughing because you were carrying a canoe. How tall was this Myrna? I mean, you're a very tall man. So even to see, even if she was like a normal lady height, um, that just would be
Well,
odd.
actually, those people sitting having picnics on a Sunday afternoon had seen many people do the same thing because a lot of people got stuck on the same sandbar.
There you go.
Right. We weren't the only one, but when I realized what I had done to myself and people were laughing at me, that's like I'm not being approved of. I mean, that's lack of approval. I mean, you mean I've done something wrong and now you're laughing at me?
Yeah. And just
mean,
me? I'm the only one?
The
No.
ego could not stand that. The
Yeah.
ego could not stand that.
That
I mean,
was yeah.
this is in my 30s. I might have done Esther already, but I hadn't found the Course of Miracles yet. So it was around 74, 75 was, I was a different person in those days. I mean, I'm not making excuses, but
No, but that was the ego that was in charge of things at that time. And
yeah,
that's the story you were living. So
but the tagline that came out of it was, if you laugh now, you'll save yourself lifetimes later of trying to explain it.
exactly. So
Laughed
all
it
right,
out.
you